Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into an absolute masterclass on how to actually thrive in the AI era. We're going to be unpacking some incredibly candid insights from Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky, focusing on how he is completely restructuring his leadership, his product design, and his overall growth strategies. So if you're looking for a roadmap on how to adapt your business or, honestly, even your own career, right now you are in the exact right place. Let's get right into it. Let's kick things off with a number that should honestly make any business leader stop in their tracks: 18%. You see, marketplaces are kind of like gravity. Once a marketplace is doing around $100 billion in gross bookings a year, growth naturally starts to slow down, right? It is incredibly hard to tip that curve back up. Yet Airbnb recently accelerated their revenue growth from 10% to 18%. So how does a massive enterprise actually pull that off? Well, not by acting like a massive enterprise, but by aggressively, and I mean aggressively, regressing back to their scrappy startup roots. To get that early stage energy back, leadership formed this highly specialized tiny pod internally. They called it Project Hawaii. They stripped away all the usual corporate bureaucracy, ditched the management layers, and tasked this small group with focusing intensely on just one single thing: the guest journey and the conversion rate. They operated with relentless startup intensity. We're talking obsessively reviewing data, working shoulder to shoulder, and just grinding it out like the founders did back in their very first apartment on Rosh Street. This pilot program was a massive success. It's at a totally new cadence for the entire company, and it proved that speed isn't just a luxury for startups. Okay, so here is the exact playbook we are mapping out today. We've got 4 actionable pillars. First, embracing founder mode. Second, why chatbots fall short. Third, the designer's AI opportunity. And finally, expanding beyond hospitality. All right, let's jump right into pillar number 1, embracing founder mode, and why hands-on leadership actually wins. For years, literally a whole generation of business schools and management consultants have been telling us, hey, just trust your people and get out of the way, right? We've all heard it. But Chesky completely flips that. He argues that trust and getting out of the way are not the same thing. In founder mode, great leadership is presence, not absence. Think of it this way. If you're a cavalry general, you belong on a horse, right out there on the battlefield with your team, not sitting an ocean away drawing up blueprints. It's all about skipping those middle layers of management, getting deep into the details, and reviewing work daily or weekly so you can actually teach your team a standard of perfection. Now, you might be wondering, how on earth do I implement this intense, fast-paced culture in a huge organization without causing a total revolt? And the advice here is absolutely brilliant. Do not disrupt the whole company at once. Think of it like a house. You don't renovate the whole house at the same time, right? You'd have nowhere to live. You pick one room, or in this case, one specific team, like Project Hawaii, and you make it perfect. You get in the weeds with them, clear their roadblocks, and build up their muscle memory. Then, once they know the standard, you can step back a bit and move on to the next room. And that perfectly tees up this critical evolution we are seeing: AI founder mode. Get this. Right now, a staggering 60% of Airbnb's code is written by AI. 60%. When AI empowers individuals to execute at that level, this granular hands-on approach isn't just nice to have, it's becoming a mandatory standard for everyone inside a company. In the AI era, there is just no room left for pure people managers. Because you're so incredibly close to the details and the data now, every single leader has to be a hands-on contributor. You're managing AI agents just as much as you're managing human beings. Moving right along to our second pillar, why chatbots fall short and the actual future of consumer AI user interfaces. Look, if you are building a consumer product for something complex like travel or e-commerce, forcing users to type prompts into a little text box is a fundamentally broken experience. Let's rapid fire through exactly why. First off, it's way too text-heavy, treating photos like an afterthought. Second, there's no direct manipulation. You literally have to type out every single parameter instead of just instinctively clicking a filter. Third, shopping requires comparing tons of options, right? But a chatbot usually just spits out 1 or 2 blocky text answers, which leaves you totally lost. And lastly, most chatbots are a solo, single-player experience, but planning travel or big purchases is highly collaborative. So what does this all mean? It means the true consumer breakthrough won't be a slightly smarter text box. It's going to be agentic interfaces. Imagine an immersive, totally visual AI. You can speak to it naturally, but it replies to you with dynamic maps, beautiful photos, interactive layouts, and even video-based suggestions. It's an interface that does all the heavy lifting of a smart agent, but leverages rich visual design to help you actually make those complex comparisons and decisions. But let's pause for a quick reality check here. Let's say a competitor uses AI to easily clone your beautiful new visual app. Well, the digital app is actually only about 20% of Airbnb's value. The real competitive moat, the stuff you can't easily copy, is the 80% that happens entirely offline. It's the massive operation. It's managing 5.5 million hosts globally, adjudicating customer service across 100 different countries, and backing the whole shebang with $3 trillion in property damage guarantees. AI is going to commoditize code, which means your offline operations and user trust are going to become your true differentiators. All right, on to pillar number 3, the designer's AI opportunity and how creative professionals must adapt their careers. This part builds on a super fascinating historical pattern. Think back to the 1990s. Prestigious print designers kind of looked down on web design and largely just sat it out. And because they left that huge void, a totally new role emerged, the product manager, who swooped in to bridge the gap between design and engineering. Today, there is a very real fear in the design community regarding AI. But if today's creative pros sit this revolution out because they're intimidated, history is absolutely going to repeat itself. Engineers and product managers will completely take over the discipline of consumer product creation. So the advice for creatives right now is incredibly simple but super urgent. You've got to step beyond traditional wireframes. You don't just have to draw the app anymore. By leveraging AI coding tools, designers can actually build the exact products they envision. You need to start thinking of yourself not just as a designer, but as a front-end design engineer. This is arguably the greatest era ever for creative people to build immersive visual consumer experiences, but only if they are willing to get their hands dirty with these new AI tools. Which brings us to our 4th and final pillar, expanding beyond hospitality and how you scale a business horizontally. If you really break down the travel industry, there are basically 6 steps to the journey. The trick is knowing exactly where AI is going to disrupt this market first. Steps 1 and 2, destination discovery and flights, are highly vulnerable right now. AI is incredibly good at taking a prompt like, hey, find me a place kind of like Paris, but cheaper in August, and visually routing you right there. On top of that, flight booking is essentially just piping into a few global APIs. That means the entire top of the funnel for travel is shifting under our feet. Now, if you want to double an already massive business, you can't just rely on your core product maturing. You have to look at totally new horizons. For Airbnb, they're targeting 3 massive new areas. First, independent and boutique hotels, which usually lack the distribution power of the big chains. Second, they have this vision of becoming the Amazon for services. Imagine just hitting a button and accessing up to 80 different localized service verticals, not just getting a ride or some food. And third, they're capitalizing on this huge shift toward long-term nomadic living for remote workers staying over 30 days. But here's the catch. To successfully launch these massive expansions in a mature market, the standard marketing playbook completely fails. Consumers have what we call banner blindness. They just tune out standard ads and stale influencer tactics. To actually break through the noise today, you have to rely on radically different, culturally resonant stunts. Chesky literally calls this unhinged marketing. We're talking about taking a real house in Malibu and turning it into an actual bar dream house. Or Red Bull sending a guy to jump from space. Or broadcasting from a blimp cruising through the sky. If you want massive ROI today, you literally have to be completely different. And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. Whether it's shifting into intense founder mode, ditching those clunky text chatbots for rich visual agentic interfaces, stepping up as a designer who actually codes with AI, or launching unhinged marketing campaigns to scale, the era of standard playbooks is over, period. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Are you still relying on stale tactics, or are you finally ready to build something completely different? Take these lessons, dive deep into the details, and go disrupt your own industry. Thanks for hanging out with me on The Explainer today, and keep learning.